listening to Chris Talks Cars on Cartoon Channel. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chris Talks Cars. My name is Chris Goodin, and today, talk a little bit about the LS engine. As a car guy, you know, if you've been around the scene at all, you've heard about the legendary LS engine. But as someone who's never really been a diehard Chevy guy, you hear a lot about the LS, but I don't really know what the differences are. The LS2, LS3, LS5, LS9, LSX, LSA, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to do kind of a quick little rundown. I went to dragzine.com. They had a pretty interesting article. Gen 1 and Gen 2 Chevy engines. Gen 1 was the Chevy small block, legendary 350. Gen 2 was basically that same engine from what I read. I'm sure there's people out there screaming that I'm right or wrong. Well, they'd probably only scream if I'm wrong. Gen 3 is when it all changed, though. That was like a ground up design. Gen 2 was basically a fuel injected version of Gen 1. But Gen 3, it says, includes LS1 and LS6. Those are both 5.7 liters. Gen 4 engines, it says it was redesigned again with active fuel management and square port head technology. The Gen 4 LS engines, excluding the Vortec line of engines, which is a whole nother separate category. It's the same base engine. They just put like iron heads and a couple other stuff on them. But Gen 4 LS engines, LS2, LS3, LS4, LS7, LSX, LS9, LSA, and some other ones in there that I'd never even heard of, like the L76, L99, LS4, LS7.R. It says also known as C5R. LS4 was a front wheel drive V8 they used in like the Impala SS and the Monte Carlo, Pontiac Grand Prix, GXP. So, I mean, it was a V8 and it was LS, but they only used it in front wheel drive. And it says it was the first engine to use active fuel management technology. So that then LS2 6.0 LS was in the CTSV GTO. LS3 very similar to LS2. It does not, however, have a slightly larger displacement. It does, however, have a slightly larger displacement, increased to 6.2 liters versus the 6.0 of the LS2. That was what they put in the 2010 Camaro SS. LS7 offered is the largest engine offered in the LS street production, 427. That's what Texas Speed pumps those out all the time. That's what Cletus has in his in Ruby and in Leroy. And James actually has the truck version of the LS in white trash. So it's a little Cletus McFarland shout out there. Let's see. I don't know. It's all just different generations in displacement. It doesn't do any good unless you have it all memorized, really. LS7R and LSX are the two all-out race engines. All right. Well, that's the LSX then, the 454. Bigger displacement. Yeah. So there you go. Your dummy 5 minutes of LS knowledge. If you remember from the previous episodes, my buddy Brandon was looking for his Swiss Army vehicle. He found a Ford Bronco that he thought only had 85,000 original miles, and he did the Carfax, which you should always do, $40. He found out the odometer had been rolled over, so it had 185,000 miles, and the guy I ended up knocking $1,000 off. So it's a good example of doing your due diligence when you're buying a car. Obviously, if you're going to roadkill something, it's not worth the $40 because it's not really going to tell you anything. And if, you're just going to beat on it, who cares? But this was something he's going to take care of and have for a while. So I spent the $40, saved him $1,000. Next week, I'm sure he'll be on to tell us all about it. It's the OJ Bronco. It's not like the old school one. Let me pull up my text message here, see if I can. It looks like it's the Eddie Bauer. Yeah, it's the Eddie Bauer tan and black package. He's got a K&N air sticker on it already, so we all know that's good for 5 to 10 horsepower. There it is, a 1990 with 185,000 miles, automatic, because he told me why. I forget. They didn't offer, I think, the the engine with the manual that he wanted. Yeah, so that's his latest project update. I dropped my truck off at the Dodge dealership earlier, or the Ram dealership, excuse me, to have it service. The drag link in the front suspension, I guess, has a recall on it. So it's been there since first thing this morning. They informed me it's time for my EGR service, and that is $1,500. And not only do I not have $1,500 laying around, I don't have $1,500 to put in to that. So I feel like there has to be a way. I'm just going to Google it. Let's see. Ram EGR cleaning. Let's see here. How do you clean a Cummins EGR valve? Huh. I'm sure it's just a pain in the ass, and they have to, because you have to pull out the intake. From what the guy at the dealership told me, I haven't watched any videos or anything on it, but I imagine if it costs $1,500, it's because it's a huge pain in the ass. But I don't want to, suck a bunch of garbage through my intake and lunch my turbo, because I didn't want to spend $1,500 in preventative maintenance. So I'll be dealing with that in the next couple weeks. Went to the river a few weekends ago. That was a lot of fun. Made me miss the racetrack. Wasn't expecting that. But hearing awesome V8s with basically open headers scream up and down the river all day, it was nice to be around some horsepower again, but it also was kind of a bummer because I was just chilling in the fifth wheel on the riverbank with my sister and brother-in-law, and my little nephew. Is kind of his pre-birthday. So took off down by the river in a van down by the river in California, and had some fun. It was good to get out of the house. I mean, I'm pretty much a solitary person anyway. Like, this isn't different than how I lived my job before, or I lived my life before all this. Like, I left the house as little as possible, and I'd either was at work, I was at home, or I was at the drag strip out at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. So I'm excited for that to open up again. There's just a vibe, man. Car people are the best. Like, I say this like I know, but I haven't really been in too many other scenes, but like the friends I've made standing on the fence at the drag strip, it's like the best. You're standing there, you see some people that look like they might be all right. You may take the empty spot next to them, or they may come up after you're already standing there. And you hear like everyone around you reacting to the cars, and like if you find yourself talking shit about the same people and like along the same train of thought, you'd be like, oh yeah, man, totally, like that guy sucks, or this is what he messed up or whatever. And then like I have friends, my friend Damien, Ali, a couple other people from Colorado. I lived there for like a few months in an RV with my dad in like 2014. Yeah. And I would go to Bandimere, which is one of the prettiest, like most majestic drag strips I've ever been to. It's like right up on the foothills of the Rocky there on the outside of Denver. You can see the whole valley, like, and the weather there, rabbit trail, I know, but the weather there is kind of like Vegas, that it could be absolutely pouring rain 10 minutes down the road and sunny and dry where you're at. So we'd be at the drag strip watching out over the valley, like wondering when the rain's going to hit. And, it's a beautiful drag strip. Anyway, I figure where I was going with that. Oh yeah. Friends at the drag strip. Like I still keep in contact with those guys on Facebook. Damien, he, had a really fast Honda S2000 he brought to Texas 2K a few years ago. Saw him, went for a ride with him, and like 5 minutes in, we get pulled over because, you know, it's a fully built race car with no hood and racing seats. So cop was cool though. He didn't give us a ticket or anything. He just told us to go back to the parking lot where we had the trailer. Anyway, car friends are the best friends. Like, I can't wait to get back into the scene more. And like all my best friends in California, my buddy Nate, Rob, like we've all bonded around cars, and it's definitely a good community. It's different than the military community, because that's built around like, I guess it's not. The military is built around common suffering, but like trauma bonding, because you're all going through the same bullshit together. But car stuff's the same. Like we've all been working on something late at night and had the brake or the bolt shear off, or it's not running. You don't know why. Like the frustrations, the toil, like nuts in places that you have to take the entire car apart to get to. Like it's all just the same shenanigans, but it's what makes good friends. So I don't really know where I was going with that, but yeah, that's my thoughts on friendship. I guess I'll go back. Yeah, let's see what else is going on in the automotive world. Let's see. Oh, Ken Block announced his new Fox body Gymkhana car, which looks pretty awesome. I don't think the Huna Fox, they call it. I don't think they've announced an engine yet. I hope it's not that twin turbo V6. I know it's on paper better. It's smaller, lighter, blah, 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 but it sounds like hammered dog shit. And I know there's more to an engine than that, but it's like, GTRs are insanely fast. Like no one's trying to say that they're not, but they sound awful. And that's just me. I don't know. Fuck me. It's just my opinion, but I don't like the way V6s sound. Give me a straight six, Ford Barra, 2J, obviously, RB26, just gorgeous, smooth, or a nice big choppy V8 like is in the 67. What year is his Mustang? I don't know. You know what I'm talking about though. The 1400 horsepower meth. It's nice. If you haven't seen the video where he goes up Pikes Peak, that is insane. One of the most iconic shots ever. He's coming around the corner and just hanging it out, and there's no guardrail. There's no bullshit. If he overshoots this corner and like slides off the outside of it, he's dead. So, I mean, I know it's easy to talk shit about people, but the dude's the real deal. And I don't know anybody that does, but he's pretty well respected. His Gymkhana series for Gymkhana 10 he did on Amazon was pretty awesome. Yeah, he's basically got like the best life ever. Not saying that he doesn't deserve it, or because he seems like a super hardworking guy, but like to just have Can-Am and Ford shove toys down your throat as fast as you can drive them, that's pretty dope. And then he put that blown Raptor engine in his boat, which, I mean, that's so awesome. Speaking of blown boats, excuse me, I did hear like there's some boats going up and down the river, and you can tell it's like it's a a healthy V8 with some exhaust, but it's not anything crazy. But then there's these like 40 something, maybe not 40 foot, I don't know how long they are, but these huge boats with two motors, and it just sounded like a Hellcat driving by. Like it was sounded so nice and just wrapped out. This is the best. Yeah, someday I want to do that. I don't know if I talked about wanting to have my blank chassis of a boat and a dune buggy so I can just throw crazy engines in them. Like that seems like a lot of fun. As long as you build it like to have multiple engines in it and transmissions and stuff, I imagine it wouldn't be too difficult. I'm a horrible fabricator, so I have no idea the effort actually required to carry out this stuff. But that's the goal one day. I have lots of those long-term dreams. The Cletus McFarland thing, like that was really, and I'm super happy for him. Like he seems awesome and he works his ass off, and they're doing that month of freedom, brother, this month where they're releasing every day. But it kind of hurt to see other people live your dreams when he bought his Freedom Factory. Cause I've wanted to do like, not that it's a unique idea to buy a freaking compound and have all your buddies, but like I've had a long-term dream. I want to buy an old abandoned airstrip with, the runway still intact, so I can build like part of it as a drag strip and have part of it as a circuit course. And basically the main thing, have a big place to go out and destroy tires like they've murdered my family in a past life. But yeah, I also wanted to do like an off-road park where it was like supercross track and like outdoor nationals track and like just an all around like outdoor off-road wonderland. That'd be awesome. Have like a RWP style place, but with a little more variety, I guess. I say that like I've been there. I don't know. It's probably awesome there. I wanted to go this year. My business partner, Manny, and I, we were ready to go. And like, as we were leaving Texas 2K, because they canceled that for all the spectators. Luckily, I was a sponsor, so I was able to still watch. But it was still cool because the cars were still there, and it's still an impressive to see, 1,500 horsepower street cars or whatever. But there's no energy. Like everyone was just trying to bang out the races because they all just wanted to go home, because all the like the vendors had left, all the people that were selling stuff, because I think they said there's like usually 12 to 15,000 people there over the course of the weekend. So but anyway, yeah, they canceled it for spectators. And during that week, RWP was like, we're still going, like we're not shut down. We'll keep it going, whatever. And then we were leaving Houston, getting ready to head back towards Dallas. And they're like, yeah, the county revoked their permit together. So that's my Rednecks with Paycheck story. Because I want to have my outdoor off-road wonderland. Hopefully I'll see it for the fall crawl. My Brandon was he wants to have his rig ready. I don't know if he'll come out for that though. It's a little intense when you got little kids, but who knows? We'll see what happens. Yeah, I feel bad these solo episodes. I just kind of ramble incoherently for an indeterminate amount of time. Let's see what else is going on in car culture today. Something else exciting. Hopefully we'll have an update on soon. Manny and Nate, my friends in California, are building a custom motorcycle trailer, kind of refurbishing an old trailer, but they got all cleaned up and painted. They're going to put the kind of like a old school muscle truck bed, like a burned wood with a clear coat on it. I forget what kind of wood they're using, but that'll be pretty cool. And then my buddy Nate, the Craigslist King, found this beautiful old 1-ton dually Chevy factory big block truck with super low miles. Let me find the text here. Yeah, 88 GMC 1-ton dually. So, and they looks like they lowered it a little bit, but red on red looks super awesome. So he's going to be fixing that up. And once the quarantine's over and I can go back and forth to California without, fear of bringing home the coronavirus or whatever, I'll be making a bunch more trips back and forth to kind of get some more time with those guys. Because if you can't spend time with your friends when you're a degenerate with no job and only a podcast, what else are you doing with your life? He also got a cream puff 94 GT Mustang with the green paint and the tan interior and rag top manual. So I can't wait to go just destroy tires in that thing. Because if Roadkill's taught me one thing, it's that American muscle cars make the best off-road vehicles money can buy. So actually in Lancaster, where my friends are, is right outside where they go a lot. They go out to Willow Springs, which when I got out of the Navy, my dad and I spent a lot of time out there. It's sad because it's such an awesome facility that's just kind of falling into disrepair out there in Roseman, outside Lancaster. One of the best times we used to, because my dad was unemployed and I just got out of the Navy, so we had a lot of free time, and we'd go out there on, like, different companies would have the track rented, and you go out there, you just pay $5 as a spectator and you can just watch whatever they're doing. And there's a bunch of different tracks out there. There's Horse Thief Mile, there's Big Willow, which is the long track. Streets of Willow. There's a drift pad, and it's awesome. It's like a big car playground. Anyway, we were out there, and there was one of those supercar experience things where you can rent the Lambo or in the Porsche and whatever. And it was a traveling one though, and they were out there. So my dad and I parked and we're watching all these people go out, and everyone. I used to think, man, how could you ever afford to let people go out there and beat on these cars? Because I assumed everyone drove it like I would. Like, I assumed everybody wanted to go as fast as they possibly could, and we probably won't die, so it'll be fine. No, I've done a couple of these supercar things, and every time it's like the 40-something-year-old dude that finally gets to drive a Porsche, and he's going like 70 miles an hour. Anyway, this lady was not that lady. She was going absolutely bananas in this GTR, and I hear the tires squealing. So I look over because I haven't heard that yet. I was like, oh shit, this lady's getting it. And they had the windows down, and she's coming into this corner that's like, it looks like a sweeper, but it's like a decreasing radius that you have to really come in a lot slower than you'd imagine. And this lady's coming in hot, and I hear the instructor screaming, brake, 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 brake. And you just see the front end dive, and those GTRs have amazing brakes. So she made the corner, but it was hilarious. Like, you could hear the tone in the driver's voice go from like, all right, brake, 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 brake. Like, it was getting real. Yeah, those good times. Another fun time out at the racetrack, we would allegedly fill the cooler with beers, and we just sit out there and have a few beers and watch. Like, one day some production company was having a training day, And if you haven't seen the way they film cars, they have like Porsche Cayennes or like really high performance SUVs with these huge camera rigs on them. And that's how they get all these great shots of the cars going by on the racetrack, because some Porsche Cayenne is out there just hauling ass. Anyway, there was a training day, and this car dealership had brought out a bunch of clients and was having them drive on the track, and then the camera crew would follow them or follow in front of them, I guess, not lead. And they would get practice. Customers would drive the Ferrari, or they had a 458 out there and a Murcielago. And I'm not a huge fan of Murcielagos. I like the V10 cars better myself, the Huracan, the Gallardo. Anyway, Huracan out there, and I think a 458, and they'd made contact earlier. Like there's a big raspberry on the front quarter panel of the Ferrari and the back of the Lambo. Anyway, this dude is out there, and he's if you've been to Willow Springs, up near the top where the drift paddock is, it's like a real tight cornering section. And the dude went through, and you just saw him slide, like look like it slid out, and then it went into the berm backwards. Like, oh shit, like that's crazy. Then what happened is it folded the axle up under, and to get it back to the paddock or to the pit area, these animals just hooked a chain to the front of it and drug it like a couple 100 yards down the hill, across the gravel, into the pits on the belly pan of this Lambo. Like they didn't pull it up on a flatbed. They just straight up dead man drug it all the way back to the pits. And it was brutal. The guy that was driving it obviously didn't own the car. He was a customer. So he was just standing there chain smoking cigarettes. The dude was like pretty pale redhead dude to begin with. But after he got back, he's just standing there in the pits, chain smoking cigarettes, sweating bullets. And the lady, so more backstory, the lady that owned the dealership was there, like this middle-aged white lady, and her ex-husband, who she's still partners with in the dealership, is this old German dude. And he was laughing about it all. And he's standing there next to the Lambo, and he's like, "Oh, it appears we've made a very expensive dune buggy now." And I was laughing. The dude standing there that just wrecked the car looked at him like he was insane, because he was obviously still pretty shooken up about totaling the Murcielago. I thought that was super funny though. That old guy, he didn't give a fuck. But and yeah, anyway, that was a fun day. We had a lot of good times out at the track. Met some cool people out there. That was back when I had the Volkswagen with the mods done to it. I remember my dad was standing behind the car taking a leak, and I put it on the two-step and blew pee all over his legs, and that was pretty fun. He did not think so, as there was pee all over his legs, but told him to just get over it. What else? I'm pushing 30 minutes here. These solo shows, I'm trying to get better of, I don't know, not being so rambly and aimless, but I'll get better at it. My buddy Brandon should be back on the next episode to talk about his Swiss Army truck. I want to start interviewing other people. So once shops open back up, I can go talk to some of the people here in Vegas. Kind of what I want to do with the show eventually is I want to be able to go to like talk to Cletus McFarlane and James and all like other YouTubers and car people and kind of get their story. I mean, I don't know a lot about these people. Everyone's car story is different, and like why cars mean so much to them and stuff like that. So there's a couple different segments I'm looking at doing. I'd like to get better at this car terms explained segment. I kind of rambled about the LS engine in the beginning, but I want to be able to add stuff. Like I'm a car guy. I know more than I'd say 90% of the population, but there's still a bunch I don't know. And like, you don't want to ask because it's a 50-50 shot if they're going to like razz you and make you feel like a dummy, or they're going to be, maybe give you a little shit because that's fun, but then they'll explain it. Like, the difference between the LS engines, difference between transmissions, automatics, not all automatics are the same, tight converters versus loose converters, power glides. I don't know. There's a bunch I don't know. So I want to be able to kind of convey that stuff to you. There's people that do it better than me. If you watch Engine Masters or Roadkill or any of those shows, if you don't have Motor Trend on demand, it's $5 a month. What are you doing with your life? I know they don't sponsor me. I hope they do. But I know times are tight because of the quarantine, but there is thousands of shows or thousands of episodes, hundreds of shows on there. So it's awesome. Engine Masters is great. They break it down all the way from very basic stuff like cams, what the duration, the lift, flat tappet cam, hydraulic roller cams, like all this stuff. You hear all of it, and at least me, you stand there at the racetrack and the guy's talking about, oh, I got, LS7 with this cam and these heads and it flows this and it like, I understand it in that, like, I kind of get the general idea, but I don't know what it means. So that show is awesome I still don't know it very well, but I at least have a better idea, and those guys are entertaining and fun to watch. So I highly recommend it. If you have any suggestions for topics you'd like covered or questions you have, I'll do my best to answer them, or have someone else who knows more about it answer it. That's about it for now. Follow me on social media. I am cartoon_channel on Instagram, cartoon on YouTube, ChrisTalksCars on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud. It's everywhere. Join the Facebook group, Cartoon Channel on Facebook. That's about it. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.